Hey everyone, just a quick reminder. Only about 25% of you watching are subscribed to the channel. If you're enjoying the content, hitting that subscribe button would really help the channel grow. And while you're at it, smash that like button too. It helps a ton, and lets me know you're enjoying the content. Thanks for being here, and let's dive into the story. The job listing said, "Night laundry technician, historic building, must be comfortable with weird noises, ghosts, and folding boxer briefs. $50 per hour." I figured it was a joke, or maybe some immersive theater gig. I applied anyway. I was 6 months out of the army, broke, living off gas station burritos and frozen chimichangas, and bored out of my skull. They called me the next morning. No background check, no interview, just, "Be at the White House, South Entrance, midnight. Bring your own gloves." I showed up in a black hoodie and cargo pants, boots laced tight. My name's Rocco, 39, ex-infantry. I've been shot at, blown up, and once had to wrestle a rabid raccoon off a buddy's leg in Fallujah. I'm not easily rattled. The guy who greeted me? Total opposite. Skinny. Twitchy. Looked like he could be bullied by a gentle breeze. "This your first night?" I asked. He nodded so fast I thought his neck might unhinge. "I'm Zeke," he said. I did training with the last guy. He left." "Left?" He leaned in and whispered. He folded Lincoln's underwear. "The ghost still hasn't forgiven him." I laughed. He didn't. We walked through the security gate. A secret door opened in the wall beside the Oval Office, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling down. Cold air hit us like a morgue. At the bottom was the most cursed laundry room I'd ever seen. Picture: flickering lights, rusted washing machines from 1963, and a Roosevelt-era vending machine that only sold ham sandwiches. There was a clipboard taped to the wall. In red ink, it read, "Rules for night shift. Do not break these unless you have a death wish. Do not open the dryer if you hear jazz music coming from inside. It's not laundry. It's Hoover again. If a sock floats midair, salute it. Seriously, it's a respect thing. Someone will knock on the steam pipe at 1:13 a.m. Don't answer unless you want to meet the wet one. If you find a gold door, ignore it. If it opens on its own, hide in the towel bin. Under no circumstances should you touch the rail cart switch in the broom closet. It activates the tunnel to Area 51. You are not ready." I turned to Zeke. "This is a prank, right?" He pointed to a framed photo of Bill Clinton arm wrestling a demon in front of the Maytag. "No, sir." We got to work. Zeke handled the towels. I tackled the presidential socks. For 2 hours it was just old undies, mysterious stains, and weird smells. At 1:13 a.m. exactly, something knocked on the steam pipe. Knock, knock, knock. Zeke froze. I raised an eyebrow. "Don't answer," he whispered. "That's rule 3. The knocking happened again, but this time it gurgled. I kid you not. It gurgled. I stood and stared at the pipe. A wet hand slithered out of it, flopping onto the floor like a fish. I did what any rational man would do. I drop-kicked a mop bucket at it. The hand hissed and slid back into the pipe. Zeke fainted. I dragged him to the break area, a weird corner with a microwave, ancient coffee pot, and what looked like a shrine made of dryer lint. Zeke groaned. "We're gonna die." I patted his shoulder. "Relax, I'm military. We're trained for ghosts." "Well, not really. But I did survive 5 Thanksgivings with my ex-wife's family." He gave a weak smile. Then he asked the question that started everything. "Have you ever been in the broom closet?" I looked at the door. Just a plain janitor closet. Nothing special. "You ever touch the rail cart switch?" he asked. I grinned. "How fast are we talking? Like Disney monorail fast or bullet train fast?" He leaned in. "Supersonic. It's a secret underground system. They built it in the 60s. It connects the White House, Area 51, Fort Knox, and somewhere called the Chuck E. Cheese Command Center." "Dude," I blinked. "I'm so flipping in." I opened the broom closet. Inside was a dusty control panel. a small rail track like something out of Willy Wonka's nightmares, and a seat made from an old toilet lid. A sticker on the switch read, "Caution. Only for level 7 clearance or above, or if you're bored." I looked at Zeke. He begged, "Don't do it." I flipped the switch. The wall split open, revealing a tunnel. Wind howled from within. The cart revved up like a race car. I tossed Zeke in, hopped behind him, and the cart launched forward like it was shot out of a cannon. Zeke screamed the entire time. I laughed like a lunatic. We passed signs. Fort Knox, Mount Weather, the real moon landing set, and then Area 51 breakroom. The cart screeched to a halt. The door opened. A janitor wearing sunglasses at night stepped out holding a cup of green jello. He looked at me and said, "You boys aren't supposed to be here." I cracked my knuckles. "We brought towels." The janitor stared at us, his sunglasses reflecting the flickering fluorescent light. He wore an old NASA sweatshirt and Crocs with socks. Not gonna lie, he looked like the kind of guy who's either seen too much or has a Pinterest board dedicated to squirrel taxidermy. "You boys aren't cleared for this room," he said again, popping the lid off his green jello like it held classified intel. I stepped forward, all 6 feet, 4 inches of muscle and bad decisions. "We're from the White House laundry unit. Just doing a towel drop. Maybe a sock recon." Zeke whimpered behind me. "We're gonna get vaporized. I read about this. They use microwave guns. I'm too skinny to sizzle evenly." The janitor blinked, then gestured us inside with his jello cup. "Fine. You've already tripped the scanners. Might as well come in before the lizards smell you." "I'm sorry. The what now?" I asked. "Lizards. Upper management. Wear human suits. Don't stare too long or your nose starts bleeding." I turned to Zeke. "You owe me dinner if this turns into an alien abduction." Zeke mumbled, "If I make it out with my pants still on, I'll buy you lobster." We entered the Area 51 janitor break room, and buddy, it was nothing like I expected. There was a dartboard made from meteor fragments, a vending machine that sold time chips with expiration dates like July 10th, 4029, a poster on the wall that read, "Do not feed the shadow in locker number 8. The janitor sat down, pulled out a ham sandwich wrapped in foil stamped top secret, and casually took a bite. "Name's Carl. I've been the head janitor here since '84. They don't fire you here. They just slowly replace your parts until you're more mop than man." Zeke whispered. I think he means that literally. Look at his elbow. Carl's elbow creaked open and released steam. Inside was a wrench. He used it to tighten his knee. "Budget cuts," he muttered. I leaned against the wall. "So what exactly do you clean here, Carl? Rogue clones? Alien goo?" Carl snorted. "Mostly glitter. Aliens love crafts. You ever see what happens when a six-eyed gray gets into a glue stick? Chaos." Zeke sat on the edge of a couch that looked suspiciously like it was made from stitched-together astronaut suits. "So, what's in the tunnel system?" Carl wiped his mouth and leaned in like he was about to reveal the location of the Holy Grail. That rail system was built in 1962 by a bunch of cigar-smoking maniacs. It links every secret facility in the country. Fort Knox, NORAD, even a Red Lobster in Nebraska that's actually a surveillance hub. But you two, especially him, he pointed at Zeke. Y'all shouldn't be down here. Things get weird. Zeke's eyes darted around. Define weird. Carl stood and walked to a heavy door with a keypad. Weird like this. He punched in a code. 5318008. The door opened. Inside was a single dryer. Alone. Spotlit. It hummed, not like a machine, but like a monk chanting in Latin underwater. Carl gestured. This unit was used to dry the original moon landing suits, but one night, something came out. Zeke took a step back. What kind of something? Carl's face darkened. Buzz Aldrin's twin. Grew out of a sock, fully formed. Tried to run for mayor of Las Vegas before we reeled him in. I turned to Zeke. That's it. I'm putting this whole night on my resume. Carl slammed the door shut. You boys should head back. That tunnel you came through, it doesn't stay open long, and if it closes, the next exit's through the Martian embassy bathroom, and those guys do not like visitors. We thanked Carl, grabbed a souvenir alien toothbrush, which screamed when I touched it, and hopped back into the rail cart. As it launched back toward DC, I glanced at Zeke. "You doing okay?" I asked. He blinked. "I think I peed myself a little, but I think I'm also having the time of my life." The cart screeched back into the White House laundry room, the tunnel sealed shut behind us. We barely had time to breathe before the lights flickered and a voice echoed through the vents. "Unauthorized travel detected. Laundry Unit C must report to Briefing Room Alpha." Zeke swallowed hard. "Why does that sound like bad news?" I shrugged. "Could be worse. Could be towel-folding re-education chamber." We followed the glowing red arrows that lit up on the floor. After 3 hallways, 2 stairwells, and 1 sentient mop that tried to bite Zeke, we reached Briefing Room Alpha. Inside was a round table, a projector, a man in a suit with no face. Like, literally. No nose, no eyes. Just smooth skin stretched tight like someone shrink-wrapped a mannequin head. He spoke. "Gentlemen, you activated Protocol Shadow Bounce." Zeke whispered. "Is that bad?" The faceless man slid a folder across the table. "You're being transferred, effective immediately." "To where?" I asked. He didn't speak. He just tapped the folder. On the front, in big bold letters. Assignment: Subterranean White House Tunnel. 3B, Lincoln Laundry Wing. The Lincoln Laundry Wing was behind a steel door with 6 padlocks, a biometric scanner, and a sticker that said, "Absolutely do not enter unless you want Civil War-era nightmares." Zeke looked like a stiff breeze could take him out. "Do we even get hazard pay for this?" I pushed the door open. "Buddy, I think the hazard is the pay." The hallway beyond smelled like mothballs and ghost farts. I swear on my protein powder I could feel history whispering through the walls. Portraits of past presidents lined the corridor, but their eyes moved. One winked. Another mouthed, "Run." The actual laundry wing looked like someone ripped it straight out of the 1800s. Wooden washboards, clotheslines, iron buckets, and a mummified raccoon in a tiny Union soldier hat perched in the corner like some cursed mascot. A new set of rules hung beside the time clock. Lincoln Wing night shift rules. If you smell pipe tobacco and no one's smoking, say, "Good evening, Mr. President," then bow. Or else, do not iron the black frock coat unless it asks you to. At midnight, the Gettysburg Address will play over the loudspeaker. You must stand and recite it with your hand over your heart. If you mess up, apologize to the mirror. If you hear heavy footsteps, do not look back. It means he's still pacing. If the top hat floats, pretend you don't see it. He's shy. Zeke read the list and immediately tried to turn around. Nope. I don't do ghost reenactments. I failed history and drama class. I grabbed his collar. Come on. You survived Area 51's glitter janitor. You can handle Honest Abe's haunted hamper. We clocked in. For the first hour, nothing weird happened. We folded waistcoats and cleaned buttons that looked suspiciously like real gold teeth. At 11:59 p.m., a creepy old speaker crackled to life. And then, 407 years ago, Zeke panicked. I only know the first line. Just follow my lead, I shouted, standing tall, hand over heart like I was auditioning for Ghost ROTC. We got through it, barely. Zeke flubbed a line, called it the Gettysburg Espresso. The mirror cracked slightly. A cold draft hit us like judgment. That's it, Zeke muttered. I'm gonna die in a laundry room haunted by a dead president. My obituary's gonna be written in cursive with a quill. Then came the footsteps. Heavy, slow, measured, like someone dragging a legacy across the floor. I locked eyes with Zeke. Don't. Look. Back, I whispered. Zeke's whole body twitched like he had soda in his bloodstream. We stood frozen as the steps got louder. They stopped directly behind us. Something exhaled. Warm air brushed my neck. My military instincts screamed to fight, but the rules were clear. Then, a low voice muttered, "Decent starch on these slacks," and the footsteps faded. Zeke was shaking so bad the folding table wobbled. "I swear to you, Rocco, I felt a beard graze my shoulder." I chuckled. "See? He's just doing quality control." We were almost done folding when we noticed something strange. One of the laundry chutes had a glowing outline around it, like it had been freshly drawn with neon chalk. Curious, and slightly stupid, I opened it. "Hey Zeke," I said. "You ever wonder what's beneath the Lincoln laundry wing?" "Nope," he said instantly. "Not even a little. Let's leave it a mystery. Some things were meant to stay buried, like my GPA too late." The chute pulsed and sucked me inside like a vacuum designed by NASA and Satan. I tumbled through darkness, bounced off old socks, and landed on a cold tile floor. Zeke followed a second later, landing flat on his back with a grunt. We were in a tunnel. Not like the rail ones. This one was older. Stone walls, torch sconces, smelled like dust and presidential regret. Zeke coughed. "Where are we?" I pointed at the mossy plaque on the wall. "Tunnel 3B, Presidential Escape Route, constructed 1865. We followed the passage until we reached a round room. In the center was a platform. On it sat a rail cart. Sleek, polished, but old, like Tesla had built it during a seance. Carved into the seat was, "For use in national emergencies or really boring shifts." Zeke crossed his arms. "We're not riding that." I hopped in. "We absolutely are." It roared to life and shot forward again, even faster than before. As we zoomed through the tunnel, we passed strange symbols on the walls. Ghosts saluted us. A statue of Lincoln raised his top hat in slow motion. Then suddenly, total darkness. The lights went out. The cart shook. Something brushed past my face that felt like silk and smelled like old books. The ride stopped. We were in a chamber with marble floors and glowing blue symbols. At the center stood a mirror. Not just any mirror. It was massive, gilded and buzzing softly like a beehive filled with secrets. Zeke whispered, "Dude, I think that's the portal room." I raised an eyebrow. "You just made that up." "No, seriously," he said, pointing. "It was in one of the footnotes on Rule 3. The mirrors are how the spirits travel. This one's probably the master gate." A voice echoed around us. "Who dares disturb the great folding order?" A figure stepped out of the mirror. Tall, glowing eyes, draped in a robe made of perfectly folded towels. It looked right at Zeke. "You wrinkled the frock coat," Zeke squeaked. "I can fix it. Just give me a steamer in like 3 minutes." The ghost raised a hand. I cracked my knuckles. "Hey, towel ghost," I growled. "Let's see how you fold under pressure." The ghost floated toward Zeke with the kind of intensity normally reserved for tax audits and mother-in-law visits. He was tall, shimmering, and terrifying, but also had an air of elegance, like if Martha Stewart and a poltergeist had a baby. His robe was immaculate. You could have bounced a quarter off his towel folds. "You disrespected the presidential garments," he boomed. Zeke held up his hands. "I didn't mean to. I thought the frock coat wanted to be wrinkle-free. It winked at me." The ghost's eyes glowed brighter. "You touched the garment without receiving the fold blessing." That was it. I stepped between them. "Okay, spa spirit, back up. You want him? You're going through me." The ghost cocked his head. "You would defend a wrinkle-stained amateur?" He's not great with an iron, but the kid's got heart. For a moment, everything was still. The tunnel air thick with tension, and weirdly, the scent of lavender dryer sheets. Then the ghost clapped his hands. The marble tiles flipped, revealing rows of ancient laundry equipment, washboards lined with silver, steam irons humming with unnatural heat. One machine had a plaque. Prototype, Used to press FDR's inauguration undies. We were in some kind of laundry temple. Zeke whispered, "Dude, I think this is the secret society of paranormal housekeepers." "I think we just stumbled into the Vatican of fabric softener," I replied. From the mirror, more figures stepped out. Ghostly janitors, floating mops, an ironing board with a face. They surrounded us, chanting in a language that sounded suspiciously like fabric care instructions in German. Then the robe ghost spoke. "You have violated the fold, but you may redeem yourself." "How?" Zeke whimpered. "Complete the wrinkle trial." Suddenly the walls slid open, revealing 3 massive laundry-themed challenges. The spin cycle gauntlet, a whirling maze of washing machines that launched socks like projectiles. The ironing gauntlet, flaming hot irons swinging from the ceiling like some medieval laundry dungeon. The bleach pit, a bubbling white liquid pool with aggressive foaming laundry creatures trying to sanitize your soul. I cracked my neck. "Let's do this." Zeke turned to me. No, we shouldn't do this. We should run. Or faint. Or cry and hope they find us adorable." But it was too late. The floor tilted and sent us tumbling into Challenge 1. The spin cycle gauntlet was a nightmare. We dodged flying socks. Zeke got slapped in the face by a rogue pair of thermal underwear. One sock latched onto my face like a leech. I ripped it off, threw it into a dryer, and hit superheat. It screamed. We survived. Challenge 2, the ironing gauntlet. Zeke immediately tripped over a rogue starch sprayer and slid across the floor like a man being freshly baptized in Downy. I sprinted ahead, weaving through scalding irons. My shirt got singed. A ghost shouted, "You missed a crease." I shouted back, "So did your barber." No idea what that meant, but it worked. Finally, the bleach pit. Zeke stood frozen at the edge. "I'm not going in there. I don't want to be purified. I haven't even filed taxes yet." I grabbed him by the collar. "Buddy, you ironed a haunted frock coat. This is your redemption arc." We jumped in. It was like swimming through foaming anxiety. The bleach ghost tried scrubbing our memories. I heard whispers. "You never separated darks and whites. Shame. Shame." I punched one in the foam nose. We surfaced on the other side, gasping, dripping, reeking of lemon-scented justice. The ghostly janitors applauded. The robe ghost floated down. "You have proven yourselves. The fold accepts your apology." Zeke collapsed on the floor. "Can I go home now?" "Not yet," the ghost said. "You must complete your shift." I stood tall. "Where?" The robe ghost pointed behind the mirror. "The final wing, where the most sacred garments are kept. Only the chosen may fold them." Zeke groaned. "If this ends with me folding ghost underwear, I'm out." The ghost pulled back a curtain, revealing a glowing chamber. Inside was a single table. On it, a suit. But not just any suit. A suit made entirely of folded light, floating, shimmering, humming like a microwave full of angels. It was the presidential fold. Zeke stepped forward slowly. "What is that?" The ghost whispered, This is the prototype for the next leader's uniform. It must be folded with perfect precision, or else..." Zeke looked at me. "You want to take this one?" I nodded. "Step aside, rookie. Let me show you how to fold like a man who's done his own laundry since boot camp." As I reached for the suit, the lights dimmed. The ghost chanted. The mummified raccoon mascot appeared again, this time holding a clipboard. I took a deep breath, folded the collar, pressed the sleeves, made that triangle thing with the handkerchief. It was the Mona Lisa of folds, the Sistine Chapel of starch. The robe ghost clapped slowly. He is the chosen folder. A door opened behind us. A voice from a hidden speaker announced, "Rocco, Zeke, report to the Oval Office, immediately." We turned to each other. Zeke looked like he was going to pass out. "If I get possessed by a tie clip, Leave me behind. I grinned. We're finally going to the top floor. The elevator to the Oval Office wasn't a regular elevator. It had a velvet floor, classical music, and a portrait of Teddy Roosevelt on the ceiling holding a shotgun and winking. Zeke kept nervously fiddling with the collar of his bleach-drenched jumpsuit. You think we're in trouble? He asked. Buddy, we just folded a suit made of light in front of ghost janitors. I think we're getting promoted. When the doors opened, we stepped into the Oval Office. But it wasn't how I expected. There were no politicians, no cameras, just a circle of antique chairs, one glowing orb on the desk, and a giant red button labeled, "Do not press, unless you're absolutely out of options or super bored." In one of the chairs sat a man in a white suit, sipping coffee from a mug that said #1 most haunted employee. He looked up. You two have caused quite the stir, he said. Name's Walter. I run night operations. Of what? Zeke asked. Walter gestured around. Of everything. That's when I noticed. His tie kept shifting patterns. 1 second it was stars, then stripes, then a spinning vortex. Either he was magic, or I was dangerously dehydrated. Walter leaned forward. You've cleaned the sacred linens, faced the fold, traveled the tunnels, and somehow survived the bleach pit. I shrugged. Just another night at work? Zeke raised a finger. I saw a raccoon with a clipboard. Does that mean I get health care? Walter stood. You've both proven something rare. You see, the laundry room isn't just a place to clean socks. It's a test, a crucible, a way to find the ones who can handle the truth. Zeke blinked. The truth about what? Walter gestured to the red button. The truth about them. Before we could ask what he meant, the lights dimmed, the walls shimmered, and a shadow slipped under the door. It slithered across the floor like spilled ink, then rose into the shape of a man in a business suit. No face, just a pulsating outline of eyes where eyes shouldn't be. Walter's mug cracked in his hand. You brought him here, he whispered. The one from the mirror. The shadow pointed at Zeke. You broke the ironing rule. You wrinkled the coat. Zeke screamed like a goat. I said I was sorry. The shadow lunged. I moved fast, flipping a chair into the air and tackling Zeke behind the desk. We need something holy, I shouted. Zeke ripped open a drawer and tossed me a bottle of presidential cologne. Here, Reagan's Confidence. It smells like leather and low taxes. I sprayed the shadow. It screamed. The scent was too powerful, too masculine. It recoiled toward the window. Walter roared, Hit the button! Zeke slapped the red button like it owed him money. Alarms blared, lights flashed. The desk split open, and up from the floor came a supersonic rail car. Walter leapt in. Quick, to the presidential extraction tunnel. Zeke and I followed, just as the shadow screeched and burst into a cloud of paperwork that smelled like old socks and regret. The rail car took off at Mach ridiculous, through glowing tunnels, past alien restrooms, a clone yoga studio, and a break room filled with Abraham Lincoln bobbleheads doing the Macarena. Finally, we stopped. The doors opened into a room with a sign. White House Night Crew Break Room. You've earned it, dummies. There were recliners, burgers, a pool table that looked suspiciously alive, and a hot tub filled with what I can only describe as glowing fabric softener. Walter handed us envelopes. Here's your pay, he said, and your new clearance cards. Rocco, you're now commander of National Laundry Security. Zeke, well, we'll figure something out. Zeke blinked. Do I still have to fold things? Walter smiled. Only if they start floating again. I looked around the room. So this is it? We made it? We survived? Walter laughed. Oh no, you're just getting started. There's the Hoover wing, the Nixon sauna, and the Kennedy parallel closet. And don't even get me started on what's living in the dumbwaiter system. Zeke groaned. Can we at least get the weekend off? Walter pointed to a calendar. Every day was labeled Laundry day. We sighed, and that's how I became the top secret head of presidential sock security and supernatural fabric control. Every night, Zeke and I show up, gloves on, eyes open, and prayers said. And if you ever hear a knock on a steam pipe at 1:13 a.m., don't answer. That's the wet one. He still wants his towel back.